Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lantern Lane podcast. I'm Brooke, and I'm so excited to be here today with Ralph Cook, the founder. It is so good to be with you, Ralph.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely. And so for people that are new, your new audience here, maybe give them just a little bit of insight to how Lantern Lane came to be.
Yeah. Well, Lantern Lane Farm Counseling Center was really born out of my own personal work. I found a need to do counseling years and years ago, and I saw the benefit, and I just wanted to pay it forward and offer others the opportunity that I had.
And so you've been in this position and working through Lantern Lane for how many years now?
20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And have you felt a huge shift and recently have things changed, or have they just steadily grown over the years?
Things have changed a lot. COVID was a huge marker in time as far as the needs of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, things changed a lot, of course.
And I think even just like knowledge of how much, just support that people need mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good thing that came from that period.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that we need, I know that we're here today to talk about the word of the year and how important it is to choose that and the right way to choose that, and just the emotionally healthy way to choose it and the benefits of it. Mm-hmm. And so many people, I think, maybe the year's already started for them. It has, and
Right.
and maybe they're hesitant to choose their word now. Maybe they feel like they've missed the mark. And so I wanted to let you just kind of chime in on any of those that feel like maybe they've missed their opportunity. Could they still choose it?
Absolutely. It's never too late. And often we're busy around the holiday season. We enter into the new year and we're 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in before we know it. And we're hearing other people talk about their word of the year, their goals. And we're feeling like, well, boy, I wish I would have done something with this. I guess I'll have to wait until January of next year. But we don't have to.
Yes.
We can establish that word of the year or our goals at any time.
Well, I am your target audience, actually. So I was very passionate about, last year was actually the first year I practiced doing a word of the year.
Yeah.
It was actually led by my cousin, and she was like, I need a word of the year, but I don't want a word of the year that God's going to test me on. Like
That's funny.
I don't want to say, grace and him give me all these opportunities to show grace. Like I just want grace or,
Right.
things like that. And so last year, my word of the year was surrender.
Oh.
And it was something that I knew that I would struggle with, and I was okay with that. Yeah. But I knew that I needed to continue to not feel like it was me that could carry whatever I was needing to carry in that moment. And that I needed
word.
It was a big word for me, and it was very clear. And this year, probably in November, I started seeking that word. What is my word going to be? We're getting close to the end of the year, and I was listening in a sermon, and the pastor said a word, and I was like, "Oh, that's my word." And then at the end of the sermon, I realized it was his word for the year. The whole sermon was the word of the year, and I thought that can't be my word. It was his word.
Yeah.
And so, how do you choose your word? Where do you look for?
Oh, I think it's the season of time that we're in. Maybe it's a season that we've come out of, and we're looking at that, and what we're hoping for. What do we hope to see as we enter into this new year, this new season of life? And honestly, our word of the year, it could change halfway through, or we could
I love that.
Or we could add another word.
Mm-hmm. God, that feels like a great segue. I know we were going to talk about that a little later, but you talking about adding another word. Do you mind if we jump into your word?
Sure, that's fine.
And how I think it's really cool. So your word is actually not a word that's in
right.
a dictionary because you made it up.
I did.
So tell us about your word.
Well, so as I was considering my word of the year, I had two words that kept surfacing over and over. And one was integrity, and the other was gratitude. And since I couldn't settle on one, and I wanted to have one word because I'm a little rigid maybe about that. But I combined the two for a made-up word, and my made-up word was Integritude.
I love it.
And I actually put it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT affirmed it. They were like, "That's good."
It's so funny. I feel the same way, and I hear a lot of people that are in chat a lot, and we talk about how it just kind of it coaches you in a way, and gives you that extra like, you are so right. That is exactly. And sometimes you can ask it to be hard on you, but I love that support system, oddly enough, that comes from artificial intelligence.
I even asked for a definition for Integritude. And would you like to hear the
I
definition?
would love to hear it.
You won't find this on Wikipedia. You won't. But here's the definition. It would be living with congruence and character while choosing gratitude as a daily spiritual, emotional, and relational discipline.
Wow. Can you just say that one more time? Like, let's lean into that.
Living with congruence and character while choosing gratitude as a daily spiritual, emotional, and relational discipline.
Wow. I think holding your character at the forefront of all of your decisions, I think that just intention is so important. And do you find yourself, how do you do that? How do you hold your character accountable and in situations? Do you feel like you're tested in that? I mean, as someone who coaches, even?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. These two words have been at the forefront of my mind even yesterday as I was choosing how I might respond to a conversation or a situation. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking, okay, integrity and gratitude. I've got to be thankful for this situation. Mm-hmm. So it's good.
I love that. Okay, well, I want to dive into these two words. I think they're wonderful words. I think they're very universal for so many people. So can we take a second and just lean into integrity?
Yes, absolutely. So, Brooke, integrity answers the question, am I living aligned with my values when no one is watching? Am I being true to myself and my values? And that's so important. Gratitude answers, can I remain grounded, generous, attentive to what is good, even when life is hard, when the pressures are mounting? Can I still lean into gratitude?
That's beautiful. Yeah. I think just using it in, it's not about being grateful when times are good. I think that's this time in the world is probably one of the best to focus on gratitude, because man, if you can do it in hard times and in testing times, of course you can do it on the mountaintops.
Yeah.
Have you, so let's talk a little bit more about gratitude too. Do you feel like there's moments where, is it easier for you? I actually find that it's easier sometimes in the hard times, because when you have nothing else,
right? Yeah.
It actually comes a little bit easier. That it's kind of in the middle part for me, where gratitude gets overlooked because you're busy, because you take things for granted.
Yes. Well, and in our culture today, there is so much negativity. We have to be really intentional about moving towards gratitude. And the interesting thing, Brooke, is that actually gratitude affects the brain and the nervous system.
Really?
It's not just let's be grateful to be grateful, but it actually has an impact on our brain. And so, if it's okay, I'd like to share some of those things that I've found. So, gratitude shifts the brain out of threat mode. So, when we've experienced trauma, chronic stress, burnout, or grief, the brain becomes highly skilled at scanning for danger. We're always on alert. The amygdala, our threat detector, gets really loud. The nervous system stays on alert. You ever been there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
I'm like, check, check, check.
yes. So intentional gratitude, it it activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for reflection, regulation, and meaning making. And over time, this increases communication between the thinking brain and the emotional brain. So there's something actually going on neurologically
Mm,
in our brain when we are grateful. So in simple terms, gratitude helps the brain remember that we are not only in danger, we are also safe in this moment.
mm,
Gratitude engages the brain's reward system. It can increase resilience. It improves mood. It supports motivation. We want those want to accomplish those goals. Being grateful
sure.
for what we have, it supports the motivation, and gratitude also strengthens relational bonds. It trains the brain to notice goodness, not to deny pain, but to widen its perspective. So there's many things that happen in our brain
Mm.
when we are just grateful. I don't think
Wow.
I realized that until a few years ago.
I
Yeah.
this kind of leans into where I think my word is going, and I am going to use that same word that the pastor used. And it's expectant,
Mm-hmm.
and it is in the gratitude vein, and it's in the positivity and hopeful. And I
Right.
love that this is all about hope and healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of those things are very interwoven together. I believe that they're because they're all of God,
Yeah.
and I find in myself that that really silences fear.
Mm.
It silences, like you mentioned, the word safe, and that is a word that I want so much in life. Not predictability, but just to know that I'm safe.
Yes.
I'm wired that way, and I find that when I lean into that, even in spite of fear, in spite of the circumstances being the same, I'm starting to generate a lot more goodness, a lot more, attract a lot more opportunity and things like that. And it's just I've heard people describe it as a frequency before. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, maybe you can speak
Yeah.
to some of that, just like when you're living into this this goodness and gratitude and things like that. How does that attract people to you and opportunities to you and things like that?
Well, I think, I mean, we talk about the vibe that
Mm-hmm.
we exhibit. I think people we're in relationship with, people we're doing business with, can really pick up on
Right.
that vibe when we're living true to ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's still in the same moment, the same, circumstance. It's just a choice.
Yes.
And I think that's beautiful. And so you're a licensed therapist, and from your perspective, why do we choose a word? Why do we have goals at the beginning of the year? And what does that do for us?
Yeah. Well, so when we start a new year or a new season, because again, we don't have to do this at the beginning of the year. It's just it's a milepost. It's an interruption in our rhythm of life. So whether it's on the first of the year, or it's President's Day, or it's St. Patrick's Day, or the first day of summer, it doesn't really matter, but it gives us a milepost. So we pause and we reflect on experiences, and we just give ourselves permission to pay attention, maybe to the season we have just exited,
Sure.
and now this new season that we're about to enter into. And I think it's really, really important for us to reflect. We often are so forward thinking that we forget to go back. And sometimes it's important to go back in order to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
But going back and reflecting is so important. And I had a couple this week that I worked with who they're a beautiful couple. She is the executive director of a wonderful nonprofit in another country, and they are at a crossroads and they just have some difficult things ahead of them,
Sure.
which is just normal for people who run a nonprofit. But I spent probably 30 minutes with them just reflecting, just pausing. Let's go back. What was some of those hardest moments for you? And maybe what would have been the word that you focused on back then? And
Ooh.
what was that like for you? And then as we started to look at, okay, now so how does that compare to what we're faced with today? And they were like, we can do this.
That's
And
beautiful.
so we were able to highlight the resilience that's just a part of them. This is who they are, you know. And so now they're faced with this new challenge. They're going to use those same skills, those same things that allowed them to get through the season.
That's sorry. That's beautiful because I think that I carry that same perspective of or of just recalling things that you've gone through in the past and how it's like, man, if I made it through that, then that doesn't hold a candle to this moment
Right.
and today. And I think it's important too about just attacking or approaching today with just today's problems, not thinking about tomorrow's or, I think that presence and stuff's very important.
Hey, Brooke, I got to share something with you
I love
about a biblical character.
Okay.
And I'm just curious. I have a pretty active imagination. So I'm thinking about Moses. And when Moses was standing at the Red Sea and he was about to lead these people
Right.
across this,
Out of Egypt. Yes.
yeah. And he was giving them instruction. He was hearing from the Lord. And I was thinking about, I wonder if when he was standing there, what he was thinking about that body of water. And then one day it hit me. I went back to Exodus 2, where it talks about, it shares the story of Moses being a baby. Guess where he was when he was a baby? He was put in the water. And from my understanding, his name was even, Moses came from, he was drawn out of the water. So I'm thinking, I wonder if when he was standing there at that body of water, could he have been thinking, oh, it's just water. I've had a relationship with water since I was a baby,
Sure.
and how God cared for him and protected him. And here he is again,
Right.
And I think we use those times that were so hard, and it's like, oh, we don't want to think about that. We don't want to talk about that. No, we go back and we reflect as we're thinking about this new season, and it can inform us as to what our word of the year, or word of the season, or our goals are, and it allows us to maybe be even more aggressive with that word or goals.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
That's beautiful. Like you're, in a way, it's like feeling like you were made for such a time as this. Like, don't remember where you started, and I've been with you this whole time.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a very deep spiritual connection to the word, and I think it grows our spirit and we're always in this season of change and sanctification and just growing in life, and so I'm leaning into getting comfortable with change. And I love the idea, though, of being able to go back to words and to chapters and using that as a source of strength moving forward. So so I am going to go ahead and choose my word here. We're getting into the springtime season, and it feels like a good time. So my word is actually, I'm going to take it. They don't really go together, but it's going to be a combo word, too. Expectant is one, and just kind of thinking about how God has always shown up, and so I want to be expectant of him to show up. And it's not to say yes to everything, but it's to guide me in the same way that he always has. And then my other word is stop, and that is one that I know I'll struggle with, and I don't like to stop. But it's very necessary. It's necessary to be quiet and be still and So both of those things.
All right.
I don't really know how I'll combine them together.
Well, I'm
but
wondering what that's going to look like. I can't wait to hear.
I know we'll have to come back together. Maybe the top of next year.
That would be great.
Or in the springtime or whenever,
Yeah.
maybe in the winter season, because
Yeah.
like he says, you can choose your word of the year anytime. And I think that's
Yeah.
so needed. And I appreciate you sitting down and talking with us through that.
Absolutely.